Hey there, we have like eons of stories to tell, so if you want to follow us along on this journey and keep up with all the stories that we have putting out, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hope you enjoy. Thank you. Hey, what is up, y'all? Chad here, and today we are going to be continuing with Planet Hulk. Now, this is the very last video before we get to World War Hulk. That's where all stuff gets real. That's where stuff starts like popping all the way off at. So, the last place we left off at with Planet Hulk. So the Hulk and his Warbound, they basically just ran up on the Red King. Like they're ready to take it to this guy. Like they are ready to like come and like piece him up. Like they're about to take this guy down. This is like the final battle pretty much, right? So the Hulk, they just ran up on the Red King, and basically, he hears something, right? He asked Meek if he could hear it, and Meek's like, "Oh yeah, I hear it." And basically, they start walking towards the spike. Everyone's trying to stop the Hulk. They're like, "Oh, the Hulk, there's spikes over there. What are you doing?" Like, and he's just like going, and he's just like, "Okay, y'all follow me." And they're just like still like concerned. They're like, "Oh, well, with the spikes, you don't want to fight those first?" And eventually, all the spikes, they just start moving out the way. They just start moving out the way, and the Hulk just walks inside this thing. Like the Hulk and his Warbound, they all just walk up in there. So with that happening, they're in there doing whatever. And basically, the Red King, he's like outside, right? And he's like talking to Eloway, the pink Warbound, like the pinky. And basically, like, he's getting ready to like, kill her. Like he's about to he's asking her if she wants to be decapitated or incinerated. He's about to like whack her real quick. And basically, the Hulk comes out of the building with the spikes on his side. He just made friends. Like literally they're allies now. Like he literally just like grew his army just that quick. So this is where we get like a little like information about like why they just became allies pretty much, right? So inside the building that they just went into, like the hive, the spike hive, basically he was asking Meek, if he can like hear what the spikes were saying, right? He was asking if he could hear what the spikes were saying, and Meek was like, yeah, I hear them, like stuff like that. And basically like he eventually like links all these people in the spikes, right? And like the spikes, they just start talking and they're just like, okay, yeah, well, here's where we come from. And they end up like telling him telling all these Warbound where they came from pretty much, right? So what the spikes are, they're basically like like cosmic like beings, right? They're not like galactics or stuff like that. They're not like like the actual cosmic beings, but they live out in space, right? They live out in the cosmos. So what they do is they just like go out and around and just like feed on like cosmic energy, and so like they're feeding on like dead stars, stuff like that. And eventually when they migrate, because they like migrate every now and then, they end up like crash falling on Sakaar, right? So with that happening, they're stuck on Sakaar. They're hungry. Like they can't find any of their cosmic energy to feed on. So basically, what they do is they end up leaving the ship that they were on, and they start feeding on these people. Right? They just start killing all these different people. They kill millions of people, animals, all that stuff. They're just like killing everything, trying to like feed themselves. Because they're starving, right? Eventually, the guards show up, and the guards, they just like start pushing all these spikes back inside their ship. As soon as they get all of them back in there, they send them off to the moon, right? They send them off to the moon, and eventually, what the Hulk asked him is he's like, okay, what the Red King brought y'all back to be weapons, didn't he? And they're just like, yeah. So what they do is they end up trying to make a deal with the Warbound, right? So they're just like, okay, we'll help y'all fight the Red King off if y'all will send us back into space, because we can get out of y'all here. We don't have to eat on nobody. We don't have to feed on anyone. We don't have to kill anyone here. We just want to go back to space, stuff like that. So eventually, that's how they got their deal. That's how they became allies, pretty much. So back outside, like where we are now, they just start fighting, right? They just start fighting. The Hulk, like the Red King starts attacking the Hulk, and the Hulk, like what he does is he like tells Meek to like link the Warbound with the Red King, so he can see like why everybody's so like pissed off, right? Why everyone's trying to kill him pretty much, right? And he's just out there, he doesn't even care. He's just out there just killing all the people anyway. Like he's even killing his own people, right? So the Hulk, he just like starts like crushing this dude, right? Because like the Red King, when he sees like what everyone's mad about, him killing Korg's brothers, him killing Meek's dad, killing all the little like kids, right? Like the little civilian kids, all the people, like when he nuked it and like that one girl died in Kyra's arm, like he doesn't care. Like he doesn't care about none of that stuff. Like he's just like, okay, whatever, I don't care. Like I did that on purpose. Like that was, I meant to do that. Like I didn't that wasn't an accident, stuff like that. He's just being a prick, pretty much, right? So the Hulk, he just starts like wailing on this guy. He just starts crushing this dude, right? So eventually the Red King, knowing that he's backed up into a corner, tries to sacrifice every single person there. So what he does is, right, he has like this little switch that he can like activate, right? So he activates it, and as soon as he does that, it splits the planet. It starts splitting the tectonic plates of the planet to like basically send everybody to like drown these people in magma, pretty much, right? So they're like trying to figure out what to do, because, you know, they all lost hope, because they feel like, you know, like the planet's about to be destroyed, you know, like they're not gonna be able to, you know, survive through it pretty much. And the Hulk, being the G that he is, jumps in there, jumps inside the magma. He grabs these two tectonic plates and pulls them back together, literally holding the planet up, like holding the planet in one piece pretty much. He drags those back together and he jumps out of the hole. He just literally just held this planet together pretty much, right? So the Red King, right, you know, he's just sitting there just like laughing, right? And Korg, like, he throws the Hulk at the Red King, and he like punches the Red King as hard as he can. And like the Red King, where he lands, it's like next to this jungle, right? So he lands next to the jungle, and that's where the wild bots live, right? So one of these wild bots just come up behind him, like, while he's just like, okay, yeah, I'm the king, you can't do this to me. It like comes up behind him and kills him. The Red King has just been killed. Like, he's finally out of the way. Like, there's no more of his tyranny, no more, none of that stuff. He's gone. He's finally done. So with that happening, right, you know, everyone's just sitting there. They finally have peace, right? They finally got peace. They don't have to, you know, deal with him, you know, coming down there just like killing them, right? No more of the gladiator games, none of that stuff. Cause like we've been well done with the gladiator games. We haven't seen that in like a few videos. So like that like there's no more of that. Like it's just peaceful now, right? And everyone's just like chanting the Hulk's name, just like green scar, you know, stuff like that, you know, talking about, because he's the one that actually brought them peace, right? The Sakaar, right? He led them to a new era, you know, where they don't have to deal with the Red King stuff. So later that night, right, you know, after everyone, you know, went back, you know, the Hulk, he's just like sitting there, right? And basically Korg and Kyra, they're basically, you know, telling him that he's been named, you know, the king of Sakaar pretty much. And the Hulk, where he's like, you know, not trying to, you know, accept it at first, he just like gives in. He's like, okay, whatever, I'll take it. I don't really want to be the king, but, you know, I'll be the king, whatever, you know, stuff like that. And basically the spikes that were, you know, like helping them, they're basically like feeding on the Hulk. Like the Hulk lets them feed on him until, like, you know, they such a time where they can, you know, get sent off into space pretty much. You know, he's basically trying to keep them sustained so no one else will get, you know, killed by these guys, you know, while they're there, until they're able to leave pretty much, right? So from there, you know, a couple days later, right, you get these Shadow Elders. The Shadow Elders, they're basically making another treaty with the Hulk pretty much. So because when the Red King died, you know, they're just like, okay, well, the treaties that we have with him, you know, those are, you know, null and void, you know, like those don't even matter anymore. So basically they're trying to make new treaties, you know. And basically the Hulk, you know, he agrees to all of it, right? If Kyra agrees to be his queen. So he's basically gonna marry Kyra to basically as a pact to the Shadow Elders, you know, giving them their land, you know, letting them do whatever they do, as long as, you know, like Kyra can be his queen, right? Because this was built up this entire time, you know, they like ever since like she first met him, like all them fights that they had, you know, stuff like that. This was just built up, you know, like it was only, you know, anybody could guess that. So eventually they go to do this ceremony, right? This marriage ceremony, where basically they like put their hands together and they like hold it over fire, right? You know, so like, you know, will you burn with me, you know, as I burn with you, you know, stuff like that. And basically while they're doing it, she asks him to, like, you know, show her, you know, all of him, right? So what he does is he ends up like turning back the banner, you know, signifying that they're not two different people, right? Because that's like something that Marvel just like goes over like a lot. Like, are they two different people? Are they the same person? You know, stuff like that. But, you know, like him showing her like all of him is basically like him saying, okay, yeah, we're the same people, we're just different at the same time, pretty much. So they end up like leaving, right? You know, after he turns back to the Hulk, they go to, and like they look over their kingdom, right? They're looking over their kingdom, right? And like while they're doing that, Meek and Brood, the Brood from Brood World, you know, they're just like, you know, going out. They're I'm not gonna say what they're doing. I'm just gonna say they I'm not gonna say what they was doing. I'm just gonna say that they were doing the damn thing. And like while they're in there, you know, like doing the damn thing, the Illuminati, their recordings, right? Like they have these recordings, and basically, you know, they start listening to it. Brood and Meek do. They just start listening to it, and they go to show the Hulk, you know, just like, you know, to try to make him mad, because like Meek this entire time, he's been just trying to, he wants the Hulk to be, you know, angry the whole time. Like he sees Hulk as the world breaker pretty much, and you know, him and the Hulk just bringing, you know, this era of peace, you know, like Meek sees that as not being what, you know, what the Hulk should be doing. He should be going out smashing stuff, you know, not making people's lives better, you know, stuff like that. So he goes and like shows the Hulk this stuff, and when the Hulk goes down there, he just like smashes it. He doesn't even want to see it, because like the Illuminati, those were his quote unquote friends. Like they sent him off ship. Him seeing this is just basically bringing up all that betrayal that he feels towards those guys. Because like that's why he's the Hulk. That's like still the Hulk. And he's pissed at those guys still. So He ends up like leaving, and basically like he goes and grabs Kyra, and they like jump, like he jumps all the way to the edge of the kingdom, right? And you know, like Kyra, she's like, oh, well, what's going on? Why are we at the steps? And basically like he starts explaining. He's like, okay, I'm a monster, you know, stuff like that. You know, he's basically scared of how strong he is. He's scared of his own power, pretty much, right? So he's trying to leave, right? And she's like, oh, well, why? I mean, we don't have to. We can, but I mean, we don't have to. You know, like how are you a world breaker if you brought peace here, right? Stuff like that. How are you a world breaker if you know, like all these people are chanting your name? How are you a world breaker if you know everything here is thriving now because you got rid of the Red King, pretty much, you know, stuff like that. And basically like while they're talking, right, he's saying like, okay, yeah, you can stay here with your queen, you know, you can stay here with your child, you know, stuff like that. Saying like telling him that she's pregnant, right? You know, it's like she has a kid, like they have a kid coming, right? So you know, he's all, you know, happy and stuff. And eventually they go back out to the city, right? So they go back out to the city, right? The Spikes just left. The Spikes just left, and I'm pretty sure y'all telling how slow I'm talking. Like some stuff's about to happen, right? Whenever something's about to happen, that's what I do. I just start talking slow. The Spikes just left. They're down in the city. Everyone's cheering for the Hulk, right? The Hulk, he's just like basking, and he's like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, I guess I can get down with this. Then there's a beep sound. The Hulk, he just stops. He's like, oh, I know what that sound is. He just starts freaking out, right? And as soon as he's like starts freaking out, he runs towards the ship. He runs towards the ship and tells everyone to get out of the way. He goes and grabs the ship, and the entire time he's doing this, the recording from the Illuminati is just playing. Like literally, he is so triggered right now. Like it makes no sense. He is so pissed off because like at the end, like when it says "I'm sorry" from Reed Richards, the ship explodes, incinerating every single body in the area. Like all those people in that area just died. His unborn kid, his wife, all the little younglings that were there, all the families that were there, they're all dead. Now with that happening, no, Hulk, he tries to like, you know, he tries to protect these people, but he can't. Like the explosion was so like big that like literally it just kills all these people. It didn't kill the Hulk because like, you know, like that's not gonna kill the Hulk, like an explosion, no. But basically the Warbound, right? The Warbound, they weren't there. They were like, you know, outside of the city, you know, doing stuff for the Hulk, basically, you know, like going to, you know, make treaties, you know, make allies, you know, stuff like that. Because there's other people here, you know, they're like, he's just trying to, you know, have these people, you know, side with him. Because there's like a new era of peace. So he's like, okay, yeah, like y'all don't gotta worry about the Red King. You know, they're trying to explain that to all the other people. And basically, they see this explosion, right? They're just looking at it and they're just like freaking out. They're just like, oh my God, all these people, they were there, you know, like LOA, she starts calling her mom, you know, trying to see where she's at. And her mom's just saying like, oh, it's too late, you know. And this is like crushing for all of them because they all have people there that they know. They have friends, all those different things. And basically they go and get in the ship, right? They jump in this ship and they like, you know, they take off, right? And the Hulk, he's just sitting there in the middle of the ashes, pretty much. Like it's not even a city anymore, it's literally just ashes. He's just sitting in the middle of the ashes, right? He's holding his wife's lifeless body. His unborn kid just got melted, all of them disintegrated, and he's just in there freaking out. He is pissed because he finally just had peace. The Hulk, he's always been mad. Like he's never had peace on Earth because everyone's always messing with him. As soon as he finds it here, all of it just gets taken away literally in the blink of an eye. It all just gets destroyed. The Warbound, they come up to the Hulk, right? They come up to the Hulk and they're just trying to make him feel better, you know, because he's all sad. And they're just like asking him, like, I mean, is there anywhere you want to go now? And he stands up and he looks. And he goes back to Earth. He comes back to Earth rushing with the fear. Like he is angry right now. They went and grabbed armor. They got weapons. They are coming to Earth with a vengeance. Cause like he sees the humans as being the reasons why why this ship just exploded, and he just lost everything that he ever actually cared about. So with that video, like that, we're gonna end that video right there. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and I will see y'all in the next one.